Welcome to episode 3 of the story of Nicholas Winton, this amazing war hero, and how the story came from the television to the cinema, and the coincidence of where it was filmed. I said I would take you to a lighter note, and this is a story of one of the locations, which was Hampstead in London, of the filming of One Life. In good That's Life tradition, I want to leave our audience with a story. This is the story about how your daughter met Helena Bonham Carter because they were filming in Hampstead for where he lived. So let's leave them on a light note. What actually happened there?
My daughter happens to have kids at school with
Helena Bonham Carter,
famous actress.
yes.
So they knew one another. And I think Helena said to my daughter one day, "You're not going to believe it, but I'm actually filming in Hampstead." Right? And she said, "Oh, really?" She said, "Yeah, I don't know where." About 3 days later, my daughter gets a note through the door saying, could they not park cars along the street because there's going to be filming. And then she gets another knock on the door from the production assistant saying, is there anywhere in your house that we could use as a makeup and green room for the filming? She said, yeah, I've got a basement flat. Of course you can have it. What's it for? She said, oh, it's for a film called One Life. The next phone call she gets is from the actress. He said, you're not going to believe this, but it turns out that I'm going to be made up in your basement. And in my daughter's basement are all photographs of the school children. Should I have my children's photos on the wall? Right. So fine, that all happened. And then the director comes to knock on the door. He said, hello, my name's James Hoare. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm the director of One Life. And she said, said, would you like to know what the film's about? And my daughter says, oh, it's okay. I know what the film's about. He said, oh, how do you know? So she said, I was there. And my daughter looks very young. She's not young. Well, she's in the 50. She said, you couldn't have been there. It was in 1987, 88. Oh, she said, I was. Because my mother worked on the programme. And she said, this, you can't write this stuff. He said, well, what's your mother's name? So she said, my mother's name is Pamela Kaufman. Pamela Kaufman? Did she work on Watchdog? And so she said, yes. She said, I was her research assistant on Watchdog. And actually, James had started on That's Life as a runner. And in fact, Esther, it's a very famous joke. Esther said, you'll never make a director. That I couldn't research either, but so that's nothing. That was her way of pushing us on. And so James said, you were there? How amazing. So here you have this coincidence. And why was it my daughter's house? Because it happened that Nicholas Winton lived 5 houses away from my daughter's house.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
The story doesn't end there.
Join me for the final episode to hear how decades later Nicholas Winton's legacy filled the Royal Festival Hall.